Hey guys, I'm back and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. You can probably tell by the thumbnail of my video today that I'm not going to be doing a video on spell casting or star signs or narcissists or something really heavy. Today I thought I would just sit down. I've got a little bit of time and I would do a bit of an update video on what I'm working on and just kind of check in and say, hey, what up? I hope that you are all well, having a good week wherever you are. I've been really pushing really hard this year since New Year's rolled over, and trying to stay focused, trying to stay on task, and really, just plotting, planning, working out, and trying to maximize how the fuck do I turn this year out. And so far, I'm really kicking goals. I'm really getting a lot of stuff done. So I'm going to keep this video relatively short. And I'm going to be sharing with you some of the artwork from my new project. This project I'm really hoping to have finished by the end of the year, and talk about it publicly, because it's something that I'm so proud of and so happy to be doing. It really is coming from a place within my soul, and I actually could even go out as further and say that I actually feel chosen to do this. I know it sounds weird, but I really do. And it's a really incredible thing that I'm working on and trying to do. And so anyway. Thank you so much for all of your comments on my latest videos. I'm going to be continuing this series, but let me know what you would like to see before I get into this little chat. Do you want to see more story time from me? Would you like to see me do some more videos on spell work? Would you like me to do a video on my thoughts on mediumship and psychic readings? Why I stay away from a lot of the spiritual community. I don't know, if you've got a question and you want to ask me something, ask me. Send it in via email, or you could alternatively just put it in the comments below. And just put it in the comment below. If you want me to comment section, if you'd like me to talk about, anything. It doesn't have to be spiritual. It could be just life related, and I could kind of do like a Q&A at some point. Which brings me onto the today's chat is, if you know me, you know that I've been working on my first kids book, and I decided to move away from publishing tarot cards and do something really different, really exciting, and something really kind of, for me, it's really challenging. It's really pushing me out of my comfort zone. And it's a little bit like the whole, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing something. And, just trusting and just having faith that this will all come together and it will all, work out, because I do all my artwork by hand, and it does take a long time to do each page, each illustration. And it is a story that I wrote from my heart. I think it was probably back 2019. I decided to finally start. I was ready. I'd moved house. I'd finished the Goliath, and that was out in the world. And I was ready to get back into my art, get back into making something consciously, and this kind of story kind of circulated in my head, and the characters kind of came to me, and it literally can happen anywhere. It could happen like in minutes or something. I distinctively remember I was like sitting in my garage, and I've got rugs in there, and I do sit-ups and push-ups, and I've kind of, my my garage is kind of like a little bit of a workout space, and I've got a treadmill and a bike and that in there, and some dumbbells. I just kind of set my intention straight, and something started to drop into my mind. And, generally it could be an idea, but I wanted to do something. Whatever I do something I want to do something that has a lot of deptitude to it and a lot of meaning, and something that an adult could look at and get something out of, but also something that a kid could look at and really enjoy visually. And it's got to have a heart. It has to have a message. And so I kind of see it playing out in a TV series, or in like a short film, or even a movie. And at the time, it was a lot of the rainforest in the Amazon was, really under threat, and it still is. And I kind of thought about doing like a book around the Amazonia, and nature, and something really kind of hardcore, and that really makes us look at us, who we are as humans, and makes us look at, where are we going as a humanity, or something to do with reality, and it had been something on my mind for a while to do some kids books, or to do a kids book. And of course, we always kind of, bite off more than we can chew. And once we start getting into it, we're like, wow, this is so much bigger than I thought it was. And then COVID happened. And then I live in Melbourne, Victoria, and I went through 18 months of lockdowns, so I was not feeling very creative, and I was emotionally exhausted, and my adrenal glands were flooded, and I was just totally stressed out, not feeling creative at all. I mean, who does in a lockdown? Like, no one. So, it's just been at the end of last year, coming into this year, I decided to, I was feeling the magic, I was feeling the power, and it was starting to come back into my blood, and here I am. So the book that I'm working on is called The Boy Who Lived Inside a Volcano, and I'm going to be sharing some of the images that I have done thus far, including the artwork for the cover of the book, and some sketches and scribbles, so you can kind of get a visual idea about where it's going and what I'm trying to say. And the story deals with a young male character, and he grows up in a village where he is abandoned and is found by the villagers, and he has basically the story I'm trying to project, really, it does tap on a lot of things collectively in the world, but it really focuses on the representation of a struggle between a boy that has been rejected by his tribe, and he's coming to terms with that anger that he has. So it's dealing with anger and what becomes of angry people, and it really does touch on a lot of different things. And I think it's really interesting because when I look at the story and I look at it, and as it's all kind of forming and taking shape and form, I see a lot of myself in the character. And it's one of those things where it's quite cathartic and very hard for me to look at, to be honest, because the concept of the book is quintessentially about how someone becomes a monster or someone becomes monstrous, and the things that are all of the chain of events that are led into that choice, or that, well, not the choice, but I guess you could say choice, but all of the things that happen to a person to make them the way that they are, for them to get to a point where they can, cause incredible destruction to other people. And the imagery itself is very lush, and it really does play, like, I love drawing animals. So there's lots of animals, there's lots of magic, there's lots of emotion. It's extremely detailed, and my artwork is very vibrant. It has a lot of I think subconsciously, I used to watch a TV series back in the late 90s called Batman, the animated series, if you remember that series. And it had really dark backgrounds, but with really bright, bold colors, and the brightness of that kind of like kind of etched into my collective as an adult. And so it's kind of a play on nature and a lot of the animals and the jungle and just kind of evocative of a playfulness, but also a darkness to it as well. And I think that goes without saying. The jungle is a place that is very violent. You know, animals eat other animals, and you know, things come out at night and that kind of thing. And I decided deliberately to really stay away from any type of like world here on planet Earth. It could be like it's more not really about, how would I say it? It's not about the ethnicity of the boy, although that is important. It's more focused around the story of this character and how he gets to where he gets. But I know that in a lot of people will look at the artwork or they'll look at the characters, and I've deliberately made them kind of neutral. So it's a little bit of, I don't know, I think like Aztec or a little bit, Amazonian tribes and a little bit of Native American Indian. Like there's quite a lot of different things that I've done where I'm playing a little, and just straight up Indian, like playing with different, I think it's kind of the Sag part of me. Like I like to play with different, kind of like a magpie, kind of borrowing from different collectives, and it's kind of interesting how it's all kind of playing out. But the real heart of the story is consequence, and it's dealing with a character that is pushed to a point where he wants power, he wants to feel strong, he wants to feel big because he's been, put down and bullied so much that he needs to regain control. And then, of course, when he finally comes in contact with that power and the anger stone, and he takes on the mantle of that power, he realizes that he can't go back. He can't change what he's done. And also the predecessors of all the other fathers of the, kind of looking at the ugly side of the masculine, which can be quite grotesque and controlling. And he comes to terms with that. So it's got a lot going on in it, but it is a strong story. And I think it's something that I'm very, very proud to create. So I'm really hoping to get this one out for the end of this year, and it looks like it will be a self-published project. I have approached other literary agents and gone down the process of looking at getting a book deal, and I've had some really positive feedback and a couple of offers. But at this stage, it seems that they see it more like they're interested in the character of what I'm trying to create, or we just couldn't see eye to eye in terms of the vision that I wanted to do with this world that I'm kind of creating. And so at this stage, it is going to be a self-published project, and it will be available on my main website to pick up a copy, and which makes it easier for me because, I went through all this trying to publish a tarot deck. Yeah, so I thought I would share. I hope that you enjoy some of the images that you might be able to see on the screen. I'm not the best at editing. I'm just doing this on iMovie. But yeah, it is. There's a lot going on in the story, and I think that it's something that hasn't really been done before. And I really thought long and hard for months before I even started getting into this, that what do I want to say? What is it that I'm wanting to communicate in this story, and what hasn't been told really? So it's either going to be a success and it's going to be like big, and it could go on to be a Netflix show because there's also other worlds that go on after this, or it could be like a TV thing. I see it in my head as a reoccurring character that goes on and has other adventures outside of this little world that I've created. And there is certainly other characters that could take the character out of this story as well without giving too much away. So I don't know. I just thought I would share that with you. I am, very busy with my panels. They are very large, and they're all done in paint and pencil, we have like an A3 size here, and I'm working in A1 size, so it's bigger than A3. If you're in Australia, you may know how big that is. So yeah, it's a lot to do, and it's my first time doing a project like this where I'm adding text, and I'm going to be learning out layouts and working in InDesign. And I'm not the greatest with all of the like editing stuff, but I'll figure it out. Yeah. So if you'd like to leave me a question about my book, or if you'd like to talk to me about anything, or, asking me any questions or any topics that you'd like me to cover, I'm more than happy to look at that in the next video. Please just let me know what you'd like me. What do you want from me? Like, tell me, what do you guys want to hear? I don't know. I'm opening up the floor. Yeah, leave a question below. Anything further you want me to explain, or give feedback, or anything like that. Anything you want me to discuss further, I'm happy to do. But today I thought I would just share some of my artwork, and you can see what I am doing, and why I'm so precious with my time and my energy, because it does take it takes up a lot of energy and a lot of time, and you really learn a lot about discipline, and you learn a lot about yourself, and it is a process. And if you're out there and you're like me and you're working on a book or a story, or you're making something, we really have to get comfortable with the process, because we spend more time in the process creating it than we do, on the other side of it. And after you finish this project, there's just going to be another project to go on to. So it never kind of ends. So this is obviously, an interesting one. It's what I would call a conscious kids book. So it is something that is conscious. So it's talking about emotions. It's talking about how, is it okay to be angry? Of course it's okay to be angry. And is it okay to express that anger? Yeah. But is it okay to hurt other people when you're angry? No. And I think the idea of that really came from, just going back to the book for a second, was that we're not really taught how to deal with our emotions. We're not really, particularly men, we're supposed to not feel emotions. We're not supposed to cry. We're not supposed to express it. We're supposed to keep it all bottled up inside of us like a volcano. The story in itself is a metaphor. The boy who lived in a volcano, it's referring to a volcano that is inside of him, and coming face to face with an actual volcano and becoming a monster. So it's not a reference to, obviously him living in there, but although he might, I don't want to give away too much, but yeah. And so the whole thing is we've got all these adults are all driving around in cars, moving really fast and driving horribly. Everyone's kind of aggro, everyone's angry with each other. But we never really tend to want to look at what's behind that. Why are you acting that way? Why are you being so aggressive? Why are you being so violent? And here in Australia, we have 1 in 5 relationships are domestically violent. And whoa, like, to me, that is insane. And if anything out there could make a difference, I thought, well, why not put out a book, a kid's book, that is visually exciting enough to pull a kid in to want to look at it, but also something that a parent could sit with, or a kid could sit with, and they can unpack that. Like, what is this really communicating? And, is it fun to become a monster? And do people want to be around monsters? Do people want to be around people that are violent? No. And I think if anywhere to start, why not start with a younger audience, so they could, be more kind to each other, or if there's a kid that's being rejected in the tribe, maybe include, obviously make an effort, teach your kids to stop caring about themselves so much and start thinking about the person sitting beside them and treating them with dignity and respect, and that type of thing. So it's either going to be completely like people just don't get it, and it's it tends to be how my life goes generally. I'm just like, here I am, this is me, and it just seems like people are like, what? I don't get it. Doing my Valley Girl accent, it tends to be the way that I live but I can't stop trying just because what I say, quite frankly, generally I feel just goes over people's heads. And I have to just be authentic and just express what I'm trying to say here. So the heart of this book really is about anger management. And I do have another, ideas for another book coming out after this one, which will be either about a phoenix, the bird that, and that'll be like a kind of a shorter one. Or I'm actually thinking about doing another book called Mermaids Don't Cry, which is dealing with emotions of sadness and how to deal with grief. So this one is about like the divine masculine, dealing with anger, where does it go, what to do with it, and in a really magical way. And of course, the other one may be about, grief, emotions, crying, how to deal with sadness, things like that. But they're projects further down the road, and I'm really enjoying doing this and, just trying to keep my head clear and keep my mind focused. So I thought I would just share that with you today. I really hope that you've enjoyed some of the images that I've shared with you, and you are interested in following me on my journey. It is a journey to be a published author, artist, author, illustrator, and it's a real challenge. I'm really enjoying it. There are days I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing something. And that's the attitude to have, just getting it done. And I'm prepared to risk it all for this project. And I really have already. So yeah, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think. And I will see you in the next video. It may be later this week or it may be next week. And we'll get back into the heavy topics, the heavy stuff. And yeah, leave in the comments. All right. Lots of love to you all. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I will chat soon. All right. Bye. Bye.